Welcome to the Atlanta Teen Sports Center. I'm Mike Patan along with Connor Gold and Blake Newsome. Today we will be discussing three topics in sports. So our first topic will be college football playoffs. There are currently only 4 teams that qualify for the playoffs. Should we expand it to 8? Blake, what are your thoughts on this?
I definitely think they should. I mean, the only problem is that players could get injured. The college football season is already expanded for the playoffs, but I do have light side on it saying it should expand. Everybody loves college football. People wish it could go on longer. As we know, the NFL starts later than college football, but it goes on a lot longer as a duration. People love college football because this is their school they're passionate about. But, I mean, everybody loves bowl games. So, I mean, it'd be great if they could expand it because there's been teams that have missed out by like 1 or 2 losses. You could also bring in maybe 1 or 2 teams from a conference to have play. I mean, I know Alabama and LSU played in the BCS a few years ago, and that was weird because they were in the same division. But who knows? I mean, I think they should expand.
I disagree with you because 4 games, I think that's a good amount. If you expand to 8 teams, there's a higher possibility of these kids getting hurt. And most of these kids are here to get to the pros. They could get like life-threatening injuries, like bad concussions and stuff like that. And really, these kids are not only here to play college football, they're here to get an education too from a university. And what if you have like a test, but you have to go away and you need to study? It takes time away from studying because these kids are still in school. We tend to forget that these are students. They're not professionals. Not yet. I think that they should keep it at 4. If they make it longer, there's a higher risk of them getting injured, and their grades will probably decrease, and I think that's what I think.
One thing to note out, though, before we move on to the next topic is that the thing about football is that they have to play at least 2 seasons to be able to move on to the pros, not like basketball where you can only play 1, or high school for baseball where you can just jump right into the pros or the minor leagues.
Right, but still, 2 seasons is still a lot, and most guys really don't declare after sophomore year. It's normally junior year, and still these guys are here to get an education, and I think that it's good right now. If you expand it, then it's going to take time away from like their other sports, like baseball season, and it's going to take a lot of time from pros too, because I think if you expand it, it'll go more into the NFL playoffs, and it'll really take a hit on the NFL playoff market too, in my opinion. That's what I think.
Okay, so moving on to the next topic. There was an incident between John Farrell and David Price. Let me hear your thoughts on this.
I mean, I definitely think it's stupid if they want to fire John Farrell. I know I'm not from Boston. You can tell I have an Atlanta stuff on, and I'm in Boston currently as we're filming this. But, I mean, I don't think they should fire him. I mean, who was your Valley Valentine was like your coach before, and how many losses did you guys give you? You don't want to remember exactly. And he was there for 1 year, and I believe it was one of the first 2 seasons that John Farrell was here that he gave you guys a World Series, another like your 3rd in the last decade. So it was good to add on to that, but also I think you guys have had a pretty good season every year since then. I mean, some years you might not exactly be a 91 team, but still, I think it's dumb that they want to fire him just because of this incident. I mean, controversy happens a lot in sports.
I think we should fire him, not just for this reason, because he needs to get Price under control. And are we that stupid to not realize the 2014 season, we were losing, we only had 50 wins, halfway, 75% through the season. And I forgot what happened to him, but he had to miss the rest of the season. And Torey Lovullo took over, and surprise, surprise, we won much more games. And are we really that dumb to not realize it? With Farrell managing, we lose a lot of games. With Lovullo managing, we win a lot of games. But then what do? We don't sign him, and now he's coaching in Arizona. I think that we're stupid to have Farrell as a manager. He clearly has no control over his players. He was good in 2013. He won that World Series. I think he did good that year, but those years are over, and I think we need to move on and get another manager.
Okay, moving on to our final topic. It is about the NFC. There's a clear thought from the world right now, from the U.S. I should say, that the Patriots will win the AFC. What are your thoughts on the NFC?
As a homer, I'm not trying to be like that, but I do think the Falcons, with their additions that they already have, their defense is getting a lot better with the addition of Don Terry Poe, too. I know as Connor's probably going to go with the Cowboys here, but I think we never really got to face them last year, so we don't know. We do face them this year in Atlanta. It'll definitely be interesting to watch. But I don't know if our defense will be able to stop Zeke or not. It just depends. It'll be the first time to see who's really going to be the new king of the NFC coming up in these next few years.
I think it's the Cowboys. I mean, do we need to remember that the Falcons choked last year in the Super Bowl? How will that affect them psychologically? Like, oh man, we lost the Super Bowl. And the Cowboys, I know they lost in the first round of the playoffs this year, but Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott are both really young, and that was like their first big NFL playoff game.
One thing to happen is back in the AFC Championship a few years ago when he played Baltimore, like 3 straight years in that game, they missed a field goal late in the game, and you guys ended their season. The next year they come back and win the Super Bowl over the 49ers in that brotherly Super Bowl coaching match. But, I mean, maybe it'll be the same story for the Falcons. A lot of times lately, a lot of teams have come back from being runners-up to winning the title the very next year. So who knows? Is the Falcons' turn? I don't know.
I think the Cowboys, I mean, they have a bunch of young guys, and honestly, they just lost the playoffs last year by a field goal. I think this year they've got their act together, and I think they're heading straight for the Super Bowl.
Okay, that's all the time we have for today. We'll see you next time on Atlanta Teen Center. I'm Mike Patano along with Connor Gold and Blake Newsom. See you next time.